Gender development. The nature of sex. Our biological differences. How are men and women alike? How do they differ? Sex is biological. Culture tells us what it means to act like a man or a woman. Men are 4 times more likely to die from suicide and have a diagnosis such as ADHD. Women have twice the chance of developing depression and eating disorders. We expect different roles for males and females. Men commit more violent acts than women. Men hold more positions of power. Men are paid more money. Females are more interdependent and men are more dependent. Women have a larger social group. All human beings want to belong to social groups. Gender differences start at a young age. I can see this in my grandsons. They engage in male roles as society has defined them. Men and women differ hormonally. Mother has the X chromosome and father has the X or Y. Females have XX and males have XY. Testosterone is produced more by men, estrogen more by women. At puberty, women grow faster, but boys begin to mature at age 14. There is a huge surge of hormones that produce growth. Primary sexual characteristics make sexual reproduction possible. Girls start to mature at age 11 and boys at age 13. Some people are born intersex and have characteristics of both genders. All cultures have gender roles for males and females. We have certain roles we set for each gender. We learn to have the characteristic of male or female from our culture. We imitate the gender roles of our mother or father. Gender schemas happen early in life. From the time we are born, we treat males and females differently. We expect our children to adhere to their gender role. which can be different for different societies. Transgender people get sex reassignment surgery. Hormones are imperative in sexual development. In the prenatal period, it helps define who we will become. Paraphilia is any of several forms of non-traditional sexual behaviors in which a person's sexual gratification depends on an unusual sexual experience, object, or fantasy. The brain is where sexual arousal begins. Many people have sexual fantasies. This slide describes the human sexuality cycle. Teen pregnancy has been declining in the United States. Girls are tended to be labeled as sex objects in our society. The mass media perpetuates this. Why do we differ? In our culture, we value heterosexual relationships. Homosexuals have just been given the right to marry in certain states. 3% of men are homosexual. There are theories on homosexuality. When I engaged in research on this topic for a graduate class, I found that the brains of homosexuals were different from heterosexuals. We think there is a genetic connection. We see if one identical twin is homosexual, his or her brother or sister is too. There was the theory that said that as women had more boys, she would produce less testosterone, and the boys would not compete with their brothers for women, but help their brothers raise their kids. Heterosexual men and homosexual men differ in biological and behavioral traits, such as spatial ability. Women prefer men who are bold and wealthy. It takes money to raise kids. Men prefer women of beauty. It shows that they have good genes for reproduction. Nature and nurture affect us, but we are also an open slate.